Welcome to the Capital Exchange. I'm Steve Wilbur, Managing Director at Allen Capital Group.
And I'm Travis Portwood, Chief Investment Officer with Allen Capital Group.
Travis, the latest inflation numbers came out Wednesday of this week. The Consumer Price Index was up 5.4% year over year. Core CPI, which removes food and energy, was up 4% year over year. Energy alone, get this is a big number. Energy alone, the latest reading was up almost 25% year over year. And you know we are all feeling that at the pumps.
Yeah, absolutely. We're feeling that at the pumps. And that could also lead to an expensive winter, Steve, if if natural gas prices keep pushing up.
Absolutely.
So Steve, we're in the thick of earnings seasons right now, and the inflation narrative is just front and center on most of the earnings calls that I've been listening to, and three major areas are coming into focus. And the first is labor and wage inflation. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, job openings have surged, and we're at the highest level we've seen in decades right now. And as I was researching this, I ran across a stunning number. In August, 4.3 million Americans quit their jobs. Wow. That's 3% of the U.S. workforce quitting their jobs in August. And leisure and hospitality was even worse. 6% of people in that industry quit their jobs in August.
That's great.
So with a record number of job openings, people have options today. So if you want to fill those openings as an employer, you're going to have to pay up, and that's wage inflation. The second issue that's being cited quite a bit is just material costs. So that's the inputs to make your product, or even the inputs to make the packaging for your product have gone up significantly. And third, and we've touched on this in past videos, is just the cost of freight, the cost of transportation to get your product either from the port or from the factory to the consumer or to the stores has gone up quite a bit. We've talked about the shortage in truck drivers we've seen right now. So all of those factors really affect the company, bottom lines. Some of those costs are going to be able to pass on to U.S. consumers, and some they're not going to. But like I said, that's going to affect the bottom line, but it's also going to affect our bottom line, the U.S. consumer as well. So.
No, you're right, Travis. And it doesn't seem like these supply chain issues are either going to get better or fix themselves anytime soon, are they?
No, they're most likely not in the short term, Steve. But if there's a silver lining to these supply chain issues, it's that we all know innovation springs from adversity. So I think in the future, the supply chain disruption we're seeing right now will spring innovation, and people will develop more efficient supply chains in the future. It's just we're going to have to deal with that pain over the short term.
Yeah, we are. Speaking of silver linings, Travis, let's talk about Social Security. Over the past decade, the cost of living increases in Social Security have averaged right around 1.65%. And that was a year-over-year number. In 2016, though, there was no adjustment to Social Security. This last week, they announced the cost of living increase in 2022, and it's going to be 5.9%. And that's the highest cost of living increase in almost 4 decades.
Yeah, since the 80s.
Yeah, that's a long time. Now, like we said at the beginning, though, we know inflation numbers are high, but at least that adjustment is going to help these seniors cope with these higher costs in 2022.
Yeah, it should help at least a little bit with the costs for seniors. So putting this all together, Steve, we've got unemployment that is still running above the Federal Reserve's target. The economy's been running hot, coming out of the crisis. The GDP numbers have been big. So these inflation numbers that we're talking about they're proving stickier than the Fed, I think wants to admit. They've used the word transitory quite a bit, so we'll see if that really comes true. But all of this complicates the Fed's decision to scale back easy monetary policy moving forward. It's a fluid situation, but I'll tell you what, I don't envy Jerome Powell right now.
I don't either. Travis, has been great. I look forward to it next week.
I look forward to it as well. Thank you for watching this week's Exchange.
To make sure you don't miss out on future discussions, please follow us on social media.
Make sure to like and share our videos, and we'll see you next week.